Because you don't do content in your backyard. You don't. He should have never made a video about Melly, or none of this stuff pertaining to Jake would be going on right now. He wouldn't be a part of it like this. And I'm gonna add it in there again, just, for a little disclaimer. I ain't saying Jake is charged with nothing in Melly's case or with this witness tampering or anything. They just trying to use some of what he did or some of the things that he said as evidence to further ban Melly. Melly's defense team filed court documents that name 1090 Jake directly. And this explains why they are fighting so hard to get the gang enhancement thrown out with this witness tampering case. Not because they don't exist, but because they're powerful. See, the fact that 1090 Jake name was even brought up, it tells you something. The defense knows that jurors listen to voices that they trust. And Jake's content basically connects the dots the courtroom can't easily explain. That's why you keep hearing, the defense team saying that this is hearsay, because that's what they want to lead with. Hearsay, and say that these things are irrelevant. But I want y'all to pay close attention to this video, because this is why I always say, as a content creator, when it comes to certain things, that you really got to play it safe. Because it's obvious that the law watch YouTube videos. They do. And if they lack certain things in their investigation and they see your page and this huge platform doing millions of views, you end up being a reliable source. And if you're going to do the leg work and do all this deep diving, and all they got to do is come on your page and watch what you saying and the facts that you laying out, they can just take a piece of your stuff and add it to theirs. Do not get mad when these people start looking into you. Not just your content, but they start looking into the person behind the content. Jake's name is being brought up because not only does he do videos, but he says certain things where if you read between the lines, you know that Jake and Melly might somewhat have the same type of gang affiliation, like the same gang ties, and may have come from under the same umbrella. Listen to Jake say it out his own mouth. Y'all check this out.
So how'd you kind of find your groove in Florida?
Well, like I said, I was attracted to the madness. So by the time I hit Tampa, just seeking out the people I was seeking out, I got into the crowd, you know what I'm saying? So on a gang tip, it wasn't like I had applications and was like, oh, you can be a Crip, you can be a this. Everybody around me was blood. Tampa's a blood city. Tampa, it's blood. That's what it is. It's a red city.
Right.
So I got around the homies and shit. I've already been claiming this shit anyways, and I wasn't even officially, you know what I mean? And then I got put on.
Right. How was that?
I'm white. So it's different. A lot of people like, oh, ain't no white bloods, ain't no this, ain't no that. There really ain't.
Right.
So at this point in time, not to sound no type of way, but I'm about the biggest known white blood that there is. It's not common like that.
It's not.
So for me, I had to show out.
2 years ago on YNW, Jake was feeling some type of way during the interview because his name was brought up during the Melly trial. And when his name got brought up, it was brought up by an undercover detective who thinks that Jake got tied to the same blood game as Melly. Part of the reason why the undercover detective was feeling that way, and he said this in his deposition and when he took the stand, was because if you watch the Adam 22 video, Jake basically explained how he got put down with the blood set.
They fucking brought me into the YNW Melly case because the gang that Melly is repping is my shit. So it's like they're trying to say we're both in the same thing. And the undercover in that case, the lawyer Raven, she asked him, how could you infiltrate the gang and you're white? And he was like, well, one of the highest, most respected members of GKB is white. And then they brought me into it. And he tried to say I'm the treasurer of GKB and I'm funding the gang with my YouTube channel. That's why I exposed his ass.
GKB stands for what?
Gangsta Killer Blood.
Was he actually infiltrating? No?
Fuck no. Everything he said was shit that he saw me talk about on No Jumper.
Jake's whole attitude started to change all of a sudden, and the way he gave his opinion on this Melly case. Now, throughout the years, he done a lot of content. He done a lot of videos on Melly and Boiling and what's going on with them. But in the beginning, when he started doing videos on Melly, he wasn't so biased. Like, he just called it straight down the middle based on what he was researching in the paperwork. You know, man, looking back in hindsight, 4 years ago, this stuff sounded so different. Because everybody wanted answers, and we really didn't have a lot to work with because everything was still fresh in this case, in the situation. So it was just a lot of he say, she say on the street. But fast forward 4 years later, I'm finna play a piece of this interview with Track and Jake, and I'm gonna show y'all how this wasn't just an interview. This was Jake really cleaning up damage for Track.
What's up, everybody? Y'all seen the video that I did on YNW Melly's case. I've been covering the case for a little minute. Track reached out to me based on the video, and we're gonna pop it off like this. First and foremost, I wasn't the one that found the paperwork. That was somebody named King AK-47, who I had no idea about. I seen this case on Instagram. Rap House TV posted it saying Track was snitching, and I decided to jump into it like I do a lot of Florida cases since I know how to pull paperwork. To clear up a lot of the misconceptions that we spoke on, you hit me up the day I dropped the video. We spoke that night. We were supposed to do this interview last night, but we're here tonight. So let's jump right into it.
And watching this editing my video, it like you can literally see and feel the tension through the screen. Jake was in hot water at the time, man. And I'm willing to put money on it.
More or less in the video I made, I said, I don't think you snitching, but I said, I believe you cooperated by handing over the cell phone in Melly's case. And more or less, when we spoke on the phone, you had information that wasn't in the actual paperwork on why you was in the prosecutor's office to begin with. So let's jump right into it and hear your perspective.
And I kind of think that it really was some whole shit that the first thing came out of his mouth when he got to explaining in the video is you want to throw AK-47 name in there, because at the end of the day, that don't count for nothing as far as the content that you create. Because see, the difference between AK-47 and what you do, he don't never do content in his backyard. You do it all the time.
Me snitching on my client and on my brother is so far-fetched. It's impossible for anyone around me or anybody that's just around every day consistently to see how much work I put in with Melly and how much work after he got incarcerated. So that's so beyond impossible for me to do that. But I could see where when you pull up a document and it says that, item been turned into authority, you consider that cooperating, you consider that snitching. I could see where the people get that misconception from. But like I've been saying if you could look at the court documents, you can look at the cases, you can look at multiple sources. The officials believe that in the beginning of the whole trial that I was on some trying to mislead the investigation, or my client was on some trying to, leave the place of the crime, leave the country, or that sort of narrative, when in reality, things happen. Things happen where it's unconditional, and certain situations look crazy when it's not explained or when it's not situated. And I'm not even referring to the snitching allegations. I'm referring to officials actually believing that the day after the incident, me and my client could be potentially doing illegal activities instead of doing his job and my job. So exactly. That's where the phone situation came in at, where they're like, hey, why did you even bring the phone into the business or to the authorities, or why did you go there? Listen, you guys got to remember, just like a document says, every item that's been obtained by any officials came through a search warrant or order. Nothing was willingly given. So that alone, which I appreciate when you was explaining, you was like, hey, nothing came from this man that he didn't physically have to order or to go give. So for you guys that are saying, oh, well, you gave the phone, you should throw it away. Who to say that anything's damaging on the phone to me or my client at the time of our acknowledgement? So to this day, I believe my client is innocent.
And if you want to check out my video that I did about Track, I'll leave that in the description or pin it in the comments, because I broke Track all the way down to the T2, and I explained how that phone was the nail in the coffin for Melly and what he did, you know, giving reason why he did it. He had a lot of reason to do it, but that still don't change the fact that you did what you did, and that's part of the reason why Melly really is in jail right now. I'm just gonna keep it real. That phone was the gold mine. That was the and they knew you had that phone. Like if you go read the paperwork, they knew Track had the phone. They were pinging the phone the whole time Track was walking in to go meet the prosecutor. When he went in for questioning, they know that you even just walked in there with the phone in your pocket, and this phone hot as a firecracker. You know, that to me just always been crazy. That just to me just always. But take that with and do what y'all want to do with it. And let me be clear, I'm not accusing nobody of nothing at all. I'm not accusing nobody of nothing. I'm just going off of the paperwork and what Melly's defense team is fighting right now. And what was said out of Jake's own mouth. But don't this look like it's weird? Don't this look like some weird shit though? Or is it just me? Like I could be tripping. I always ask y'all, am I tripping? Drop it in the comments. Am I tripping? Am I reaching? Jake was kissing a whole lot of ass in the interview, man, with Track, if you ask me. But the damage had already been done by then. It was too late.
When I read the paperwork, like you said, a lot of the things that weren't included with the snitch allegations of you was the fact that the police painted a picture that you hid a murder weapon and you were in contact with Melly. Whether that's true or false, the narrative that they painted was that you were cooperating on behalf of Melly and going against the police trying to mislead the investigation. The thing is, though, when I said I believe you cooperated by handing over the phone, like you said, I didn't have the details behind how it actually played out. You was in the prosecutor's office because you were discussing Melly traveling to different states, which they assumed was him fleeing, when in all actuality, you had contracts being his manager for him performing or showing up in different locations for the purpose of business.
After an unfortunate incident, of course.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, Track gave up Melly's phone to the police, and he got exposed for it. He got exposed for it. Not only by another YouTuber, but by you as well. And you being from Florida and from the same alleged set that Melly is from, that's why you really should have just stayed out of this and not said nothing. Like from day one, I feel like Jake should have never done no content on this at all. And if he hadn't done no videos on the Melly situation in Florida, his name wouldn't be in his paperwork right now. I think he put a target on his back when he did. And Track had to come on your platform mad as a son bitch. Like these people is mad. Like that. You could look at Track mannerism and look at Jake's mannerism. They ain't seeing eye to eye in this interview, man. If you good at reading body language, like I said, looking back in hindsight, when I first watched it, when it first came out a couple years ago, a younger version of me, 4 years younger, like you look at stuff, you look at it different. But like, looking at it now, I'm like, no, you agreed to every dumb thing that Track said in that interview. That's how I know you were kissing ass. Because some of that stuff that Track was saying didn't even make sense. He been sticking to his same story the whole time. I give him that. But it's never made sense when he tried to justify why he gave over his client's cell phone. I feel like, man, if that, like, that's supposed to be ride or die. If that's your, like, man, just say your artist. Because when you represent him as your client like that and you put emphasis on and make that word so strong, that's supposed to be ride or die. He never called Melly his artist. Every time he addressed Melly, is my client, as if you represent Melly lawfully. But you kind of like threw him under the bus first. In all honesty, Track mannerism in this video versus when he sat down with AK-47 or how he was responding to AK video about the paperwork, is totally different. How he is with Jake and how he was with AK is totally different. This man, to me, looking at it, is mad that Jake put his hand in this and he did that content in his backyard like that. Because nigga, you know what I know. Whether you know it or not. Like, I know what you know what I know. That's what I took from it. Now y'all read between the lines with whatever y'all want to take from it. Now I'm finna show you times since that track interview where he's been biased as shit. Every time he favoring Melly or he trying to find a way to justify how everything that the prosecutors and the DA is doing, like they reaching. And being a consumer of this type of stuff and you a watcher, you think that the way that Jake look at certain things is because Jake is good at paperwork. That's what you would think right off the bat. He researched stuff. He good at pulling up paperwork. He a felon. He know law, etc. So of course he gonna look at everything the lawful way when it come to Melly, and in his mind they really don't have nothing. If we going out paperwork from his point of view.
Do you think that there's a chance that he could actually beat the case?
I do.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how y'all didn't get it right the first time if y'all are so overly fucking confident. There's just a lot of stupid shit. Like, what makes me confident that he can beat it is the simple fact that I'm even in the fucking case. Because it doesn't add any type of value. The fact that the gang detective, the one that was wearing the mask, have inside information that 1090 Jake is the treasurer of the G-Shine Blood. What the fuck is a treasurer? A confidential informant that 1090 Jake is funding the Bloods with his YouTube channel. I'm the only one that got a fucking chain? Because nobody I'm around look like me, so I don't understand. My whole thing is, if you did it, take the plea. If you didn't do it, trial. The fact that they're now offering this and he's supposed to go to trial very soon, it shows some form of weakness. Hey, look, we're going to give you this crazy plea after you allegedly drove around with 2 bodies that you planned to murder, and then you tampered with the witness, you know? All of these capital punishments, all of these death penalties we could give you, we're going to offer you this 16-piece real quick and see if you'll bite. If you did it, take the plea. From what I heard, he didn't take the plea. If you didn't do it, don't take the plea. Take it to trial. If you get fucked, you still have an appeal. If you beat the case, welcome home. You're going to be on Vlad TV pretty soon.
Do you think that Melly and Bortland did it?
I think that if they did it, they would have been found guilty a long time ago. I've never seen a case take this long. The fact that I'm personally in the case, I know that they're bullshitting. Because there's bullshit about me. They said I was one of the highest ranking, most respected members of GKB. Never been that in my fucking life. I've never been some top rank blood. No, never. Polo, who got exposed, he keep bringing me up. And he wants to use an interview that I did with you and that I did with No Jumper, that have nothing to do with Melly. The interviews, we're not even talking about Melly. It's me telling my life story. And there's like 5 or 6 more other YouTube videos. One of them is 7 rappers that got ran down on. They got some other videos of Melly that have to do with his affiliation. They got me exposing the Island Boys. I think what he's going for is Melly must be this gangster rapper because he's never been exposed and he's never been ran down on. How come Jake didn't treat Melly like the Island Boys? How come this rapper got ran down on but Melly didn't? I think that's the angle he's going for. What the fuck that has to do with the murder case, I have no fucking idea. Why I'm brought up, I don't know. Melly's lawyer said that he's a crazed fan of mine. So that's basically the situation. But yeah, I'm in the case. Honestly, the worst update about his case isn't even the evidence, it's the witness tampering.
I want y'all to pay attention to what I'm saying. Gang enhancement ain't about music or image. It's about motive and structure. If the state proves that whatever was done in this witness tampering case was to benefit or protect the gang, the entire witness tampering case changes. I hope people that have been paying attention to my series the whole time are not thinking that I'm sitting up here trying to say that Jake had something to do with what Melly was supposedly or allegedly did to Sack and Juvy. If that's what you think I'm saying, I please, just with all due respect, stop watching my video right now. Because you lost it. You lost. This gang enhancement piece of this witness tampering case ain't no light shit. It's not. That's why the defense is fighting so hard right now. Because what the state is doing, it ain't surface level, y'all. This ain't no surface level situation that we seeing. So when you hear Jake say that the undercover cop got most of his information from regurgitated YouTube videos, that's a lie. That's a lie. Let me ask y'all something. You think these people just sit around? Now, I said earlier in my video that I feel like they get bits and pieces off of people that they consider credible sources on YouTube with huge platforms. But do you people actually think, I'm asking y'all, do y'all actually think that they really just sit down and get all their information strictly from YouTube documentaries or from Patreon style videos like what Trapler Ross and them do? These folks go to school, study laws for years, study crime. They actually going to court and got to fight cases on a day-to-day basis. This is one of them videos where I gotta go slow and paint the picture. And if you gotta rewatch it and keep hearing me say certain things to catch it, do what you gotta do. But I'm cooking right now. That's why I say if you're not following what I'm saying, then just leave right now. Start it over. Just start it over first. But if you don't comprehend it by the end, man, just leave. For real. Clearly said that the information they received about Jake was from an informant part of a blood organization. So it's a rat somewhere dangling. Don't let these people fool y'all, man. You can go Google this stuff. You can go look up these court documents and actually find this shit. And this dude also said that Jake is bringing a lot of money into G-Shine because he make a lot of money off his YouTube channel. I showed y'all in my video earlier how he tried to downplay that part when he spoke on it a few times. But that paperwork also say that Jake got pictures with the godfather of the set. He done spoke on a lot of this stuff now. But like I keep on saying, it wasn't until that track interview where his whole attitude and his take on this stuff or stuff that he started saying or things that he started trying to address became a little different. Jake know a whole lot more than what we think he know. He know a whole lot more. It's a reason he's sticking to his little part of the script when it comes to the part of the situation with the witness tampering or like how they trying to, use his little stuff for evidence. It's a reason why he's sticking to his script like that. And I ain't gonna knock him. He trying to keep it solid. He keeping it solid. I ain't gonna say trying to, like he keeping it solid. So I ain't gonna even just knock him for that. But I thought it was shady of him once he saw that stuff was getting serious for him based on how he was creating content and he gave this undercover detective something to work with, how he just blowed his cover. Like he literally did a video on this detective exposing who he was and was proud of it. But it seemed spiteful, like looking back at it. I feel like all that stuff Jake did was kind of like out of spite. Because when his name came up in this gang stuff and he was tied to this case, he felt some type of way about it. You could tell just by stuff that he was saying, but that's your fault. That's your fault. Because you don't do content in your backyard. You don't. He should have never made a video about Melly or none of this stuff that's pertaining to Jake would be going on right now. He wouldn't be a part of it like this. And I'm going to add it in there again, just, for a little disclaimer. I ain't saying Jake is charged with nothing in Melly's case or with this witness tampering or anything. They just trying to use some of what he did or some of the things that he said as evidence to further ban Melly. And I'm finna just go ahead and cut the fat and get straight to the meat. I'm breaking all this stuff down like this because you gotta think about it. Melly is being charged in this witness tampering case with soliciting tampering with a witness tampering, conspiracy to tamper, and directing street criminal gang activity. So this video right here wasn't about the murder of Sack and Juvy. It wasn't even about the murder at all per se. It's mainly circled around the gang part of this case. It paints a picture to the jurors. They want these videos of 1090 Jake to be used in this case because they know 1090 Jake don't just make videos. They know that these videos and what he's saying, especially that Adam 22 video, that ain't just nothing random. Or he can make that seem like it's so far-fetched from it. No, you just were talking too much trying to be cool. Because the defense know that these videos talk about gang culture, they talk about blood structure, and they give a certain insight and a look on Melly's alleged gang ties by way of just stuff that came out of Jake's mouth just on accident, I guess. I don't know, man. That's crazy. And the argument is, Jake ain't no witness. Melly ain't in none of these videos. So it's all hearsay. Stuff like this could make the jury, emotional and lean towards a conviction off of emotion and not facts in the case. But what if this is one of the key facts in the case, man? In other words, Jake content is so influential. It's influential enough to the point where the defense is scared that it could shape how the jurors think. That's big, man. And this is exactly why I say you should tread lightly when you doing certain videos in your area. And you got street ties, period. See, Jake was trying to be cool for the camera and say a lot of stuff to bring clout and notoriety to his name when he got on that No Jumper podcast. But you don't just openly say certain things out loud when it comes to your affiliation because you just started to sound goofy after so long. That's one thing. And then you don't never know who listening, and you can't even put a color on that. I'm just being real. Just shut up. Like people just need to shut up. So before people think that, because I don't want nobody to be harsh about it, like I'm going at Jake because he a white boy. That's why I say you can't even put no color on that. I just feel like people just need to shut up, just period. When you got strong affiliation like that, or you were put down with some real stuff and you don't owe nobody no explanation, why give them one? Then you sitting up there trying to act like you playing it cool with Adam, like you don't want to talk about certain things. But man, that's a 3-hour interview, man. That's a 3-hour interview. So you obviously said something that they could work with. Your name in the paperwork. And I don't care how people try to downplay that, man. That was really a chess move by the state. They even add that in there. That add this content in there. Now, when it comes to Melly and the penalties, if gang enhancement is added to this witness tampering case, not only does it lead to harsher penalties, it allows broader evidence. Evidence in this case is supposed to explain why a lot of messages was sent by Melly through, from jail since he been locked up. Like the ones he passed through Terrence Mathis and Borland when he was on house arrest and stuff like that. And mind you, Terrence Mathis is a gang member too. All these people fall under the same umbrella, man. And I see exactly what the state is doing. Melly passing them messages and getting locked up, affiliating himself with people behind them walls, moving a certain way. Man, don't this look like a RICO on the way if this don't work? Like, I'm for real, man. I'm finna stretch out on a limb. Like, fuck it. I'm just finna stretch out on a limb. Let's just say this witness tampering case work the way that people been assuming that it's gonna work online on YouTube. Everybody saying that Melly gonna get a slap on the wrist, 5 years probation, all type of crazy stuff. Let's just say it go like that. And then when he go the trial for this murder case, he walked. This gang stuff can be picked up by the feds, and this could easily turn into a gang, RICO. In Florida. Where you see all these crews, what they say, G Shine and GKB, who Jake was talking about in his video, you'll start seeing all these people. They man, you think it ain't no bulletin board somewhere right now in the office in Florida where they putting pieces to the puzzle. That's why I say, man, Jake shouldn't have done what he did. Jake was supposed to not, like, Jake put a spotlight on him that really helped amplify the gang enhancement in this case. Because you affiliated with the same gang and they can prove it. You know these people. And you doing content on them. And you doing interviews talking about your gang affiliation. Man, you just all over the place over here. But everything that you saying is like, we can use some of this to pin Melly to the wall even more and really make this death penalty stuff stick. And then when we get him, bam, we can hit the game with the RICO. Because I'm pretty sure these guys in this game got their own look. Like Tam Matthews is in jail for something totally different than what Melly is in jail for. James Howard is in jail for something totally different than what Melly is in jail for. But once they get behind these walls, they all under the same umbrella, allegedly, and they start communicating. And it's so much other stuff. I'm going to just say this. It's so much other stuff that people don't be talking about that Melly been doing behind them walls when it come to guards, how he been disrespecting stuff that he been saying at the mouth and shit. Man, y'all better go read that stuff. People just be taking what they want to take, the little shock value stuff, or like want to say, find little bits and pieces where it might be a kink in the chain, or he might beat it. But man, I like talking about the common sense shit. And I'm going to keep on talking about the common sense shit. It's a lot of reasons why the state is fighting tooth and nail and want this gang enhancement charge to stick. It is deeper than Melly. Just ask y'all what y'all think, man. Like I said, this video took me 2 days to make, man, because I was all over the place as far as just how I felt. But I had to make it make sense, and I hope I made it make sense, you know. And if I had to give my opinion on all this, I think it's over with for Melly. I keep saying that. That's just me. And these gang charges are only the beginning. This is just the beginning of something that's bigger and deeper than just rap in Florida. Melly just a start. And it's been my thing to a certain degree, you know, this whole time. If Melly is so innocent, why ain't nobody pumping no machine to keep his legacy going to a certain degree or some type of way? Whether it be through merch, music that's unreleased, something like you don't hear Pete. Like you have to really dig deep. And when you hear Track talk about it, Track just say the same thing all the time. When he get out, we got new music on the way. But it ain't nothing like, you don't hear nobody other than his people saying free Melly, or somebody, oh man, dang, let me do a verse for him on the strength while he fighting it right now, put some money in his family. He ain't getting no love. None. Why? I'm gonna just keep on just breaking it down using my common sense, man, for real. And people be sitting around here wondering why Juvy father feel the way that he feel. This is why, because you hear people try to make it seem like this case and this situation is so light and that Melly just gonna beat this so easy, when it's documents and court files pertaining to this case that paint a whole different story. And I just say this too, like when you look at how I feel like, man, we gonna really find out to a certain degree come Melly trial why he killed Sack and Juvy if he did. That's why this gang enhancement stuff gotta stick with the state. It got to. They need it. And Drew Finley know that. He know that. I'm telling you, man, I might be looking too deep into the shit. I don't know. But I don't know law. I just sit up here and I literally, man, I read this stuff, look at this paperwork, these court files. I watch my little videos and stuff. I put my little thoughts together. And, man, that be my conclusion. That just be what it boiled down to for me, man. Ain't no way you gonna make me believe that if this was something serious, which we know it can get Melly the death penalty, but I'm talking about the state. The state got other stuff they got, boom, just in case this don't work. Man, that DA, what she doing is covering her track every possible way that she can. If we can't get them on this, we gonna get them on that. If we can't get them on that, we gonna get them on that. That's why I say let's just speak hypothetical and say that he beat what he facing right now. He beat the tampering case, or he get a slap on the wrist for that, and he beat the murder trial. Man, if this gang enhancement stuff stick, either way it go, he done. But if it stick, not only is he done, once he gone, they coming for everybody else that's tied to it. And that's just my take. That's how I feel. That's my opinion. I feel like Jake, what he did when he started making content around this stuff is what made Track mad. Because in the beginning, Jake was just doing YouTube videos. Jake was just creating content, just getting it bag, not realizing, like, you know what I know. So be careful. You in the backyard. You doing content in the backyard. He ain't paying attention to that. He chasing that money. You see how stuff transition over time. Like Jake started getting that bread when it came to how he started breaking down these things. So he wasn't looking at it that way. And they had to get this man probably on the phone or like reach out to him, and like I say, just go watch that interview. You can literally see Jake reading off of a monitor or paper or something, and it's like he reading verbatim what somebody told him to say, how they told him to attract the question to come clean up the damage. And my honest opinion, I feel like this was because this dude really found out some stuff. Like, man, you don't know Melly like you think you know him. Like, bro, what you doing could get all of us in trouble. Like, on some deeper shit, not just with this murder shit. Like, bro, you fucking with the streets when you start. Like, bro, you under the same umbrella this nigga under? But I don't think nobody had to remind Jake of that, though. I think Jake knew that. Jake just didn't know that it was that deep because he was chasing the money. He was chasing the content. And Melly up even worse, but you put a certain spotlight on yourself that you don't even realize you putting on yourself. Like, when it comes to other stuff outside of just you being a content creator, you being a YouTuber. And when he did that interview with Track, that's when you start seeing him being real Melly biased when it came to his content. When he started doing interviews with other people, when he was on Vlad, when he sat down with No Jumper. I just showed y'all 5 different videos since the interview with him and Track, where he went from saying one thing to something totally different. Way totally different. But it was for reasons of him feeling some type of way because the undercover detective was on to him and who he was. He started looking into him after he started doing content on the Melly situation. And they saw that he was a credible source too. Just opened up a can of worms. And it would have got bad for Jake if Jake hadn't cleaned that up. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Right here, this gang enhancement got to stick for way more reasons other than just making sure Melly get what he deserved if he did what he did. You notice how every state, when it comes to these gangs and these rappers, they cracking down on that stuff and everybody getting hit with RICO and stuff. Like, so I hope y'all understood what I was saying in it, because I know this probably like a 30-minute, 35, 40-minute video, probably my longest video I've done. But everything that I said, everything that I put in here was for you to pay attention and see. His defense team, they working hard as shit. And it seemed like to some people that this is something light, for real, for real. And he trying to play it like it light, but that's just the way that it look. It's deeper than it.